Hello, 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 hello. Okay. Welcome to this Q&A transmission. We are going to be spending some time today answering some questions. Those who are joining me again, thank you for joining. I think I got disconnected. The audio got disconnected because I received a call. So let me know. Can you hear me now? Oh, sorry. Yay, okay. So sound is back. Thank you for joining me again. Right. So I feel for those who didn't hear the first parts, let me take this time to kind of like cover some of the material we had covered in the original audio so that you are all caught up. All right. Yes, okay, thank you everyone. So what I wanted to begin with before we jump into the questions for today is an update, right? An update of energetic update, right? So as you might know, or not know really, we are in a month that is a feminine month, February, the second month of the year. And this month has a lot of really powerful portals, right, that we've been receiving. And one of the most powerful portals coming through this month is the 22nd February 22nd 02 2022. All right, so this is coming up this coming Tuesday. And portals themselves, this is when our planet opens up and connect to other cosmic bodies, and it receives energies from the higher heavenly world. And these energies, we call them photonic lights, and sometimes they're called hydroplasmic lights, heliotellic lights, aurora plasmic lights, so many fancy names for them. Yes. And so when these lights, our planet is attuned to them, we receive and feel these energies, right? And these energies, what they're doing is they're affecting and influencing our DNA. They're helping us heal our karmic imprints. They're helping us heal our ancestral miasma, right? So this is the divine dispensation. It's the divine dispensation of Source God, right? You know how we're always asking, why isn't God helping us? Well, God is always helping us. And it is usually through these organic portals where we receive extra support from holy guardians who are supporting and looking after Earth right now. And yes, as well as this dispensation of photonic lights, right? So when these photonic lights, when they hit us, they unwind our DNA, they unwind trauma, they unwind whatever karmic energy you've been holding, and they help you dissolve it, faster, and so on. And so if you're highly sensitive, you will probably feel these energies, right? The more you're doing healing, the more you feel these energies. The more you're doing your DNA work, the more you feel these energies in your DNA, right? And those of us who are like healing practitioners, because we engage a lot with this work of healing, we probably also feel them more. And then genetic path cutters as well, they will feel this more. So you might have been feeling exhausted and overwhelmed, the body feeling dense, your dreams being very, interesting. Either you are not like feeling like you're dreaming a lot, but you don't remember. Or like me today, I just took a nap earlier and I just kind of like felt like I shut down, and I woke up and was like, oh my God, did 90 minutes pass? It feels like I just slept right now, So yes, that's what happens when we're moving towards portal days, right? So what we want to understand about portals is that when we have a portal, so another way to think about a portal is when something beyond our planet influences the energies in our planet, right? Because our planet has aligned with that particular body And so that body is affecting us. An example of a portal would be the full moon, right? So when the full moon is active, we feel the energies coming from the moon. Some of these energies are inorganic, they are not naturally supposed to be there, but they do influence us. We feel all forms of sensitive during the full moons, for example. And then we have other portals days, like when we have like numerological days, like this one that's coming. It's called a master day. It's at the 22nd. So 22, it's the power of 2, so that's a master day, and it's happening on the second month on the year 2022. So there's a lot of energy here that is the feminine energy, that is about the number 2, that is about unions as well, right? And at this point, it's important for us to know that union is one of the most powerful and fundamental template that was created by God, right? For us to be in twos, that is one of the most powerful ways of expression that humanity is meant to be, right? So there's definitely going to be influences within our unions this month, depending on what your situation is, right? What happened during these photonic lights? The photonic lights will show you what you need to be attended to, what you need to address. And you may notice the dreams to see what is it that is a pattern in your DNA and that is keeping you stuck, not experience union the way you are meant to, the way in which God has decreed it to be. So, right? Yes, warrior level, that does happen. Like everything is moving so fast. I can't believe it's the 20th of February. It just feels like, what? Yeah. Didn't we just start the new year just like yesterday? Did we just have our conversation house level just the other day? Now it's like February. Yeah. So what we want to do during these portal days. So some people believe, and this is true, that when there's more light coming through into our earth, there's a greater opportunity for accelerated healing, fast healing, obviously in alignment with organic and sacred law. There is also opportunity for organic manifestation. And if you attune yourself, if you align yourself with the higher world, with source God, with divine will, you will see what may feel like miracles during these portals, right? And this one is very big for our unions, right? So this is the time you want to think very deeply about the kind of union you want to experience. And lately, this is what my higher self has been saying. She's been saying, Joy, you can always give what feels difficult to Source God. Like, give it back for Source God to deal with it. It's not even that Source God is dealing with it. It's just you are like surrendering and saying, you know what, I'm aligning myself with the divine will. That here is my desire, right? This is what I really deeply desire, Source God. And I don't want to fight so much for it. I will take the aligned actions I need to take to ensure that this does come, but I want to give you this desire of mine, this dream of mine, and you do your will with it, So during this portal day, you want to do that. You want to bring things to Source God. You want to pray and surrender your whatever difficulties you may be having within union. But this is not just about union. Of course, this is also about like your career. This is about your healing journey. This is about whatever is important to you, right? So during these portal days, we want to pray organically to Source God to say, I know that the energies right now are, there's a lot of dispensation coming from the higher heavenly world and awakening certain things within me. This is what I desire personally right now. And I am willing to do what I need to do to receive this. Please remind me, show me, express it to me so I know clearly what I'm meant to do. and lead me to where I need to go for me to align myself and to align myself with your will, with the organic manifestation that is possible with this particular thing I desire. Right? So basically, don't be super attached. Yeah, I've seen that the fastest manifestation happen when I really truly understand that I am in a co-creation with Source God, and that, I mean, as much as I would like to believe that I am more in control, truly only God is more in control. And this is not the personified God we grew up learning. I'm talking about something far beyond that, which is the conversation for another day. Yes. Okay, so those are the first updates I wanted to share. The second update I want to share as well is yes, about my 2 offerings that I have, and like which one is for who, if you're considering working with me. Alright, so currently I have Holy Guardians, which is a mastermind for practitioners, for those who want to go deeper into learning the healing arts, right? Everything that I do for me is in alignment with organic sacred laws and in alignment with Source God and those universal laws, right? And sometimes everything I teach sounds like high level, but it is what I'm here to come and dispense. So if you're ready for that kind of like information and teaching and training and initiation, then Holy Guardians is for you. Because of how kind of like high level the work is, there is a need for you to have done some healing prior, right? Otherwise, you're just going to, like, not only won't you fully get what I'm saying, but it just will be very stretching for your inner children and overwhelming. That's the word, overwhelming, right? So if you are a person who's at the beginning of the healing journey, I have Healing with the Divine Grandmothers coming up in April, which is a 7-day course, which I think is like the best way to begin working with me. And then if you want to go deeper, Warrior Mystery School, which is a 1-year course where we go deeper into your inner child work, your ancestral healing, your soul healing. And also it's a pretty much like it's a mystery school. It's where you get to learn stuff like what is a soul, what are soul matrices, all that kind of stuff. And it's, my students are saying I should not say it's a chilled course. It's not chilled. It's still very exciting at the same time. The Warrior Mystery School. So that one is coming in May, right? So I just intuit with yourself and choose which one you would like to start with, but also obviously be honest with yourself, because it gets quite lit up in there in the containers of Joy Mohami. So yeah. Yes, otherwise my once-off sessions are also open. And actually, I'm forgetting this, on Tuesday I am going to be sharing a free program that I am running in March. It's a 3-day program. Those who've been with me, they've maybe experienced my free programs. We're doing another one again. The first one for this year is happening this March, in 10 days or so, right? Yes. So look out for that. I'll be sharing this on Tuesday. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. How are we feeling? Let me know how you're feeling. How have you been feeling this whole week? Right? So how I'm feeling right now, I am feeling exhausted. But yesterday, what was interesting is I had what we call letswalo in Setswana, and I think South Africans, you call it uvalo, right? This pit or like anxiety, which is not really anxiety, but just a feeling that something is coming, something's going to happen. I've had the biggest letswalo of my life since yesterday. Like something big is coming. I couldn't even sleep. I tried the breath work. It wouldn't go because it wasn't an anxiety. I didn't have anything I was anxious about, but it was like that gut feeling, spiritual feeling, So that is one of the things I've experienced. But now it's better actually. I did take a nap and now it seems to have gone, but for the last 24 hours it was quite like raw. Yeah. Yes, taking naps. Yeah, definitely. And not remembering trips. Yeah, for me, I just kind of like feel like time is moving so fast. I go to sleep and I wake up and I'm like, is it morning already? What happened, So yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's jump into some Q&As. I've received some questions, but if you have any other question, please feel free to share it here. So the first question that I received was on the difference between multidimensional healing and quantum healing. So this is some of the work that I do, right? Quantum healing and multidimensional healing. So for us to understand whether these are the same, let's just maybe define what multidimensionality is, what is the quantum, and then maybe we will understand what that healing is. Right? Let's start with the quantum, right? The quantum, I often perceive it like an ocean, right? It's this big, endless ocean. And this is a crystal ocean, like this is how I imagine it, a crystal ocean where every single information from the past, from the present, from the future exists. So this is not just the past of like humanity, but the original things that happened from the moment of creation in our universe, right? So this ocean has every single thing. The first time Source God decided to create our universe, the first meeting, if there was ever a meeting, probably there was a meeting with other guardians for them to plan on a different aspect of what being human is and stuff like that, So all of that is held in the quantum, this ocean, crystal ocean. So the quantum, it's information, it's wisdom, it's knowledge, right? And this information, this knowledge, it's also where everything that has ever existed, will ever exist, also originates, right? Because everything starts first as an idea. We started first as an idea. We started first as a thought. God had a thought of like a being beyond itself that it could create, and then we were created, right? So it's a field of thoughts, of beliefs, of ideas, of knowledge, of information, right? So, and this quantum field, it's all around us. We are in the quantum right now, even though the aspect of the quantum we are part of is the physical manifestation of the knowledge of the universe, right? Or the idea of planet Earth. We are the materialization of planet Earth. I am quite aware that what I teach sounds very PhD, y'all. Lately, I've been hearing people saying that, I can't hear what Joy is talking about. But anyway, I'm really trying. So stay with me. What was I saying? Yes. So we are like we were an idea first, and now we are the manifestation. You have an idea of a cushion, and then you create it, and there is the cushion. But it first started as an idea, right? So even now we are in the quantum. The quantum is surrounding you all the time. This oceanic information is surrounding you all the time. The more you develop your consciousness, the more you heal your soul, the more you allow the soul to be in the body, the more you will begin to actually perceive this information that I'm talking about, right? The quantum. And this is how actually oracles, shamans, prophets access and know things. They are accessing information in the quantum. They are able to shift their consciousness to receive information about you, for example, if you're having a session with an oracle, right? So everything that we are doing in the healing arts is through the quantum. Whether you are aware of it or not, maybe you didn't use words like, you may have been saying, I just received visions. These visions, that information from the quantum, or you just feel something, or the body changes for you, however way in which this information comes through for you. What matters is that collectively, we are all constantly accessing the quantum field. And you can develop yourself to access more specific information from the quantum, right? The more you grow, the more you access from the quantum, the more you can easily go and retrieve information about someone, which is kind of like what we will be learning in Holy Guardians, learning how to develop our consciousness to access more information, right? So that's the quantum field. So everything exists there. Okay, so let's put a pin on it, we'll come back. Then we have what is called multidimensionality, right? So the moment Source God had a thought of, for example, the human race, that thought immediately existed. It existed in what we call a dimension of reality. Out of the blue, the thought came and then it exists, it's alive. And then as time went on and then it became like a material thing, a human, then the human is existing again, but from a different dimension, from a different perspective. Right? Are you with me? So what this means is, you have been alive way before you were born. You were alive first as an idea, and then you moved into maybe existing as an etheric being, and then you moved into existing as a physical being, and so on. So where we get it wrong, it's thinking that the moment you become physical, that etheric part that used to exist before stops existing, or the idea of you stops existing. It doesn't stop. It continues. And there is what we call multidimensionality, the idea that we exist in different dimensions. We are more than one thing. The idea that there is the physical you here, and there is also a spiritual you who is existing in a different world, or what we will call a different dimension right now. And this is often what people mean by higher self, right? There is an actual aspect that is your higher self, that is it's different from you, but it's still you, and it's existing not in planet Earth, but maybe outside planet Earth, and it's connected to you as a consciousness stream. Maybe it's not physical like you, but it's a different iteration of yourself, right? So that is multidimensionality. Everything exists more than one way, So even when you die, the body would have died. Your consciousness continues to exist in a different dimension. So maybe that's easy to see that. It's easy to see that a baby comes from somewhere. Before the baby is born, where did the baby exist? Somewhere. That somewhere is a dimension, and that's an aspect of it. When the baby is born and it experiences its human life, and then it dies, it goes somewhere. Those are multidimensionality. Ooh! I poured tea on myself. Okay. Have you completely lost me? Or you're still with me? Yeah, let me know. Please keep telling me here in the chat how much time I've been on, because if we are at like 45 minutes, I should stop the live stream and restart, because this phone tends to die, so I can save this live stream. So let me know how long I've been on, because I can't check the time. Yeah, okay. Okay, still following, great. Yeah, so that's multidimensionality, the idea, that you are existing in different ways, right? So here's the thing, the aspect of you that existed before you were born, which we say you existed in the life between life stream. So before this life between life, there was a part of you that existed, and now you are in life, you're existing. And then there's going to be the life after life part of you that will exist. So these different aspects of you, there are certain things that they go through in these different dimensions that influence your life today, right? So for example, in the life between, I have experienced this with an Akashic record reader who was able to access for me, and I 100% resonated with what they were saying. They were able to access a promise, a vow that I made in my life between life before this one, that I promised that I'm going to completely heal something that was important to my soul. And in this life, that thing has been kind of like following me as something that I feel like it's like a challenge for my soul, right? And that is because I made a vow before even this life, and now it's continuing this life. And when I die, it will continue another way as well. So when we speak about multidimensional healing, it's understanding that vows before we are born, vows we make when we are alive, vows we make after we die, influence our life today, and that we can actually access this information to help us today when we are in the physical body. When I access my life between life vows, it really healed me in deep ways, because it explained something that had really bothered me for a really long time. And then once I knew it, I was like, oh my God, now I see the patterns. Now I see why my life has been unfolding the way it has been unfolding. And that is multidimensional healing. When you can heal, use information from other dimensions to heal yourself. And in fact, when you heal you today, warriors, when you heal you today, you are actually healing the past. That's what we also mean by we heal our ancestors. When you heal the traumas alive in you, you change the past. Literally, not as a poetic thing. You genuinely, when you go into the quantum and you access the memories of your grandmothers and you pray for your grandmothers who went through pain, you are healing the past experience, and it does ripple out to you today and to the future, right? Because time is not as linear as we may have thought. It's actually all happening simultaneously, all at the same time, and what we do in this moment influences both the past and the present. Yeah. So multidimensional healing is healing the different dimensions. But the way to do multidimensional healing is what? Through accessing the quantum, going into the quantum and accessing information about these different influences, whether that's what happened to my ancestors that has led to this particular experience to happen to me today, or whether what happened to my soul before it became this version of itself that is influencing me today, and healing that. Right? So you see how they are intertwined. Like multidimensional healing happens in the quantum field. And then quantum healing is when we go into the quantum. For example, truly we can go into the quantum and connect with a great grandmother from 14th century and connect with that consciousness and pray for that consciousness and ask that consciousness to let go of its pain. And that consciousness, it will literally agree. Well, sometimes they refuse if they're very stubborn, but it agrees, and that once they agree, that vow is released in the quantum, and it will ripple out through the entire generations that were influenced by that, right? As in, like, if a grandmother, for example, she made a vow that maybe because she was taken as a slave and forced into like just horrible things, and she makes a vow that she will never ever have children. Maybe she has one child, and after that she says, I will never ever have children again in this situation. And because she made that vow, later on the daughters or that come from that one child she has have difficulty having children, right? And it's because of the vow that was made by grandmother. When we go back in the quantum to that grandmother and we make her heal, we ask for the support of God to come into her heart, to help her release the grief and the pain, to forgive, and for any aspect of her to be sent to the center of creation for rehabilitation. Literally, there is a ripple effect that will ripple out to the present moment, such that if women before could not have children with ease, they start having children with ease. That's how powerful quantum healing is. That's how powerful this world is, and how magical and miraculous it is once you understand how it works. Yes. Okay. Yay. Okay. And yeah, are we good? Does that make sense? I believe Dumi asked this question, but I'm not seeing her here. I hope she gets a deep understanding of it. So they're intertwined, they're connected, but the bigger access is the quantum. Yes. Okay. So let's then jump into the question that you asked, Akona. This question is about quantum leaping because it's connected to what we just spoke about, right? As in, like, a little bit about what quantum leaping is and why is it that when you're going through a quantum leap, there's all this resistance that comes up and makes it difficult for you to quantum leap. Right, okay. So what is quantum leaping? So the way that everything changes, or the way that we create, it's through what I call movement or motion, and through what we call actions. When you take a specific action and you do that action has the ability to change not only the present moment but the past and the future. Right? So an action can be taken that will be so big that it will create such a big and radical change in your life or in the lives of other people. And when that change is reflected in the physical, we call that a quantum leap. You have leaped, right? An example of a quantum leap. Is nothing comes to mind, but maybe let me use myself as a quantum leap. 6 years ago, I made a decision that I'm going to be a full-time. At the time, I was going to be a full-time artist, right? And genuinely, honestly, I didn't know how I was going to make it work, because like being an artist in Africa is jokes, you know. It's not like it's easy and everyone succeeds at that, you know. And after I made that decision, I took very big decisions. One of that decision was to start a literary magazine that didn't exist before, and literally reach out to very successful artists and try to get them to be interviewed by me. And what happened in that moment after I did that, first of all, 20 people did not answer that invitation. They ignored me. And then one guy, amazing guy, said yes, and he was the biggest writer in Africa at the time, said yes. And he said yes because I kept persisting. I kept sending messages and taking the action. And once I had that interview with him, I saw a ripple effect where 3 months later, this interview magazine had become an African phenomenon across Africa in the literary community. And it felt like I quantum leaped, because people were like, literary magazines, first of all, no one knows anything about them, and they take a long time to build such attraction, but you did it in 3 months. And when I look back at what is it that I did that made it happen so quickly, one, it was actually mostly because that wasn't the first time I did interviews. I had been doing them all along. And two, this exercise, this interview magazine, I actually dreamt it. So this was a prophecy God gave me. I saw myself interviewing people, and the next day I woke up and I started to interview people. I didn't ask what it all means. I was like, okay, I dreamt that I'm supposed to interview people, I'm gonna do it. And then I persisted even when everything was saying no, 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 no. Until finally the person who said yes was so big that they rippled me out and pulled this entire little project of mine into like continental success so quickly, right? And when I look at it, I perceive it as one, quantum leaps are made up of what we call the compound effect. The compound effect is the more you do actions, the more you keep taking one action, and the more, in fact, you repeat it, even when it looks like it's not going to work, the more the effect keeps compounding, and one day the compound will add up, and the result will become visible, and sometimes the visibility will be so big. But it's not like I came a success out of the blue. I didn't. It was actually based on the times I tried over and over and over again. And then universal laws does state that, the actions that you take, they will have equal effect, the law of cause and effect. So the effect compounded back, right? So it was because I didn't give up that the effect happened. Then the other one was because this was a prophecy that was so big in my soul. I felt it the moment it came as a dream to me. This was a directive of God, so I followed through with the directive of God. Everything that God says you must do, if you do it, it will come back. You will leap, because all the universal forces are supporting you. There's no resistance. You are in the river, you are going to where the universal forces want you to go. So it will work out. It may take a couple of tries, but it will work out. So then that's how you will experience a quantum leap, is that it's a prophecy. There's also compound effect, and also there is a radical and insane belief in that thing that it just ripples out. I really don't even know what made me believe I could do that, but I did, and it worked out. Right? So that's what a quantum leap is. So there could be something right now that you feel has come to you, and it's like, it just feels like a directive from higher worlds, like it's a prophecy. What you do is you have to go and do it. But here's the thing about prophecies. All prophecies, when they come, they are always bigger than what your soul has contained before, what your soul has done before. And sometimes that prophecy is bigger than what your ancestors have ever done. And it is because of that bigness, that when the prophecy is becoming true, manifesting into reality, every part of you is gonna freak out. Like, oh my God, why is it happening? Why am I succeeding? It's not supposed to be this easy. I went through that, by the way, with my magazine. I actually collapsed a year into it when I just started to get amazing opportunities. I freaked out. I wasn't ready for that kind of success. I just thought I was supposed to struggle first for like 5 years before I found success, And so when it happened quickly, I believe I'm probably one of the first few writers in my family to pursue writing as a craft, right? So people in my bloodline, my ancestry was like, oh, what is happening? Freaking out, right? Even I myself, honestly, I grew up not seeing writers around me succeeding. I genuinely didn't think I could succeed at that path. So when it happened so quickly, all the fears, all the belief systems within myself, like I am not good enough, I am not ready for this. The one vow that was so big for me was, I am not qualified, because I didn't study literature. You see, I studied psychology. So when this literary magazine was like growing fast, I'm like, oh my God, I don't have the credentials to be this successful. So this needs to stop. It's too fast, right? So these vows, they get activated. These fears, they wake up. And really what is happening is that your nervous system has not recalibrated itself to handle existing in the new reality you are in now, because quantum leaping is leaping from one reality to another, where one time you are not an artist and now you are. No one knew who you are, and then now everyone knows your name. That's what happened to me. So my nervous system was not recalibrated. It could not handle that level of success, and so it got overwhelmed and collapsed, right? So when we see ourselves freaking out, it's because the nervous system can't handle. Because you see, every reality requires a certain level of the self to be there for that self to navigate the new reality. So I required a confident version of myself who knew that they were qualified, who knew that that natural gift was enough as it was, and that's it, that's valid, but that wasn't the self that was there. So in that moment, when you have quantum leaped, or you see yourself quantum leaping, like something is opening up, an opportunity is happening that you've been working on, you do need to check in with the nervous system. This is part of why, for example, people who win the lottos, they end up losing that money, because the nervous system was not ready to handle that money coming in so quickly, right? So you need to energetically be in alignment, and your nervous system has to be in alignment with that quantum leap, right? And so those who succeed in like wealth creation, for example, is because they've been doing it for years, and the nervous system got used to having more money, until one day the more had grown into a million. But if it's like, boom, you are a millionaire now, oh my God, look at all the ancestors freaking out because they've never been millionaires, they've never seen that much money. Look at your entire inner child freaking out because what does it mean that I'm a millionaire now? Oh my God, does this mean I eat only fancy food? Oh my God. So yeah, so these are things we have to become aware of. Like, quantum leaps are great, but we have to also support the nervous system when we are quantum leaping. And when you are freaking out, what you want to check is your inner child. If there are any stories that are running in your field that are making you feel unsafe in that success or that quantum leap. And then you also want to check what has happened in the past in your family with people succeeding. Are you the first one to ever quantum leap like this, in this kind of way, within whatever the quantum leap is? If it's money or you got married, you are the first one to get married in a long time, whatever that is, your career path. We need to regulate the nervous system so that it comes along, it feels safe. Because in many ways, with all the teachings we've received, we've also honestly been taught that success is quite dangerous, especially in Africa. It is, according to African superstition, and probably some truth as well in it. It's not like they're coming out of a vacuum. Sometimes, there's going to be other requirements that come because you're successful. And jealousy is one of the biggest lower emotion in our continent. Please let me know, how long have I been doing this live stream? I have a feeling that I might need to go to plan B, but actually I'm going to answer the last question. But yeah, what's the time? What time is it? Yeah, because my phone likes to heat up. And are you with me? Did you understand what I was saying? Oh, okay. I think maybe it's been like an hour or 50 minutes. Okay, let's do the last question and then we're good to go. Let's hope it doesn't cut. My God, I will cry if it does. Okay, so last question that I want to attend today is, how do you know that you are a healer? Okay, yes. Okay, how do you know that you are a healer? I think this is you, Leila. Thank you for the question. One, being a healer is as simple as someone who knows that they're a musician, right? It genuinely just means that you are good at things that come naturally to a healer. So the first things that often healers have is that generally they are aware and sensitive to other people's emotions. Just naturally from childhood, you've always been. You could feel how other people are feeling. You are also really good at holding space, holding a mirror for people, holding a perspective, a deep understanding. It doesn't have to be deep, an understanding that other people find value in, such that when they talk to you, they feel lighter, they feel heard, they feel seen, they feel like, yeah. So typically this is something that you have always kind of been, right? You just always been like hyper aware of certain people's emotions and how to support other people. And there's also a deep desire to help and guide people and teach people. And that has just always been there, right? And you definitely will find yourself drawn to the healing arts, to psychology, to spirituality, to religion. A lot of healers have what we call the devotional template. These are people who have just a deep devotion to certain logos, like love, like peace, like happiness. If you're the kind of person who has always, like, for example, loved God or loved Jesus or loved the mind, contemplating on the mind, or loved ancestors, whatever it is, like there's this devotion that is not like other people, right? So then that probably makes you someone who holds the healing template. Of course, other things is that naturally you have what we call the class senses active within you. So maybe growing up, you could see the future, you could see events before they happen, you could dream events before they happen, you could get visions, you could feel when someone is sad, you can just feel it. You sometimes hear information coming through you. You always kind of like, maybe even when you didn't know, you know something, you know things before you even really learned them somewhere officially, which was me. Like all this information that I share with you all, I can't really tell you the exact source, but ever since I was young, I've always been like this. I could explain things without knowing where I learned them, right? Because that was my class sense of class sense that has always been there, right? So you will see that naturally you have these senses active, awake within you from a young age. And then what then happens is, because you accumulate trauma from your experiences, sometimes these class senses, they close up, or you shut them down, or you forget that you have always been good with certain things. And then what will happen is that you have to awaken them, activate them, bring them up, and then develop them, right? So, I just feel like if you are here, you probably already have that template. If you're listening to me right now, not everyone will want to listen to what we're talking about right now. They just would not find it exciting. So if this is exciting for you right now, then you're probably holding a healer template, because you will always be led to where you're supposed to go. So people who come to me, they have a healer template all the time, most of the time, right? And yeah, you are a person who's bothered by events that happen in the family, and you're just like, oh, why does this pattern keep happening over and over again? I want to do something about that. There's also a deep love for personal development, wanting to make things better, just feeling like something is wrong with how things are and you just can't stand them and you want to do something about it. And that may lead to you reading books, watching live streams, and just learning and developing and going to whatever tools are available for your development to be better than what you are seeing. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that's how you know you are a healer, right? But healers are developed. This is important. Healers are trained, they're initiated, they're developed. What is already with you is your healing gift. It is already there. I don't have to give it to you. You were born with it. But to be a healer, to be a practitioner, that is based on skill, which you may have to go learn from somewhere. It is based on training, right? So if you feel like, I don't know if I'm not a healer, what you are really missing is the skill set, the training. You haven't received training yet, but innately you are a healer, but you just have to now go through the route of initiating that. And the best way to start is to start first with healing yourself. The more you heal, the more your healing gifts come up. This happens all the time with my students. They come, they're like, oh, I don't dream. And then they start to dream because you've removed everything that's hindering the gift. and then the gift comes up, and then it can be initiated, developed, grown. And this is in alignment with like a live teaching mentor, as well as your support team from the higher world who will guide in the awakening of that gift, right? And it's a journey. It takes time. Like, I have been on this journey for 12 years. I have been studying as a healing practitioner. Like, the first time I studied, I was a psychologist in the year 2009. And then I've been growing and developing it. I've been initiated as an oracle now, and I've been working, and I'm still learning how to be a healer, right? So it does take time. It's something you have to be comfortable with, and you should have the desire to master it. Like, I have a desire to be a great healer. Like, that is what moves me, and that's why I take opportunities to grow myself, right? Because even though I was born with the gift of knowledge, I still need to cultivate that, right? Yes. Okay, we made it before it dies. Yes. Okay, I hope this was really helpful. Check out my Tuesday post and join me in March for our free program. And otherwise, you can also just check out some of my other offerings as well. Thank you everyone for joining me today. Bye. I hope that answered you. Give me some love. Yay, it did. Okay, bye.